I'm in California preparing. I tried baking a cake earlier and my brain was split in too many directions and I forgot a crucial step in the dough, in the batter. Also, it was a first shot at a recipe and the batter wasn't enough either. Like it didn't really yield. They were very thin cakes also, although I think I messed that up with my fail. I forgot to put the milk and the vanilla into the batter, and then I realized that after I put them into the oven and I tried to pull it out and I tried to kind of mix it in after the fact, but it was just ruined at that point. So we're trying over again, and I scaled up the recipe so that we can get thicker cakes, hopefully this time. So I'm gonna try to channel all my neurospicy baddiness into focusing this time and making sure we don't forget the milk. Yes, USA. Where are you from? Where are you from today? Where are you coming from? So right now what I'm gonna do is prep the pans. And then after that, we're gonna finish. Right now the eggs are coming to room temperature. And so while the eggs come to room temperature, I'm gonna prep the pans. I just washed them because again, I literally just made these a few hours ago. Then we're gonna measure out our flour and our sugar and our cream of tartar and the milk. We can't forget the milk. We cannot forget the milk. Must not forget the milk. Let me turn this off so I feel like I'm yelling because it's my dishwasher's going. But yeah, this is just kind of like a POV hang. I'm happy to share the recipe as I go along. Again, this is me trying to make up for a fail. I failed earlier. It wasn't a horrible failure, but I'm having to redo it. And I really meant to be baking this yesterday because I'm giving this to my best friend tomorrow morning. But I ended up baking something else for my personal trainer because it was my personal trainer's birthday yesterday and I saw her this morning. So last night, instead of baking cake, you're from Indonesia. Oh, nice. I'd love to visit Indonesia someday. Sounds like a beautiful part of the world. One of these days, I'll make it out there. All right, so we're gonna take our parchment paper, our parchment baking paper. This is a new box, so excuse me while I try to not rip it open. Here we go. And we're gonna take one piece like that, and we're gonna put it over the bottom of our pan. And then we'll slip our spring form on top of it. Yep, I have the right part down. We'll put our spring form over it. Then we're gonna close our spring form. And just like that, our parchment is locked in. And where's my scissors? Where's my scissors? So we're gonna take our scissors, clean them a little bit, and now we're gonna cut our parchment paper just so that there isn't so much hanging out over our edges. You know Bali? Oh, I think I know. Yes. I mean, yes, as in like a reference, but I don't think I could point it out in the map. But yes, I do know Bali. And I do know that that's a beautiful place. So that's our first pan. It's prepared now because we're doing a cloud cake, aka an angel food cake. We're just gonna line the bottom with our parchment paper, and we're not gonna grease the sides because we want our cake to climb the pan. In theory, that's what we're trying to do. So we have our first pan. Now, take some more parchment paper. Make sure it covers it. Okay. And then we take our spring pan again. We close it. And again, now our second pan has the parchment paper on the bottom. And we'll cut around our edges. And now our second pan is prepared. It has the parchment on the bottom. And again, we're not greasing the sides because we're gonna let our cake climb our pan, in theory. Again, I told you, when I did this earlier this morning, it was a bit of a fail. So we're trying this again. So, okay, our next step, we've prepared our pans. Oven is preheated. Triple check our temperature. I have a thermometer in there, but it was towards the front. I pushed it towards the back. We're gonna check that temperature again in a bit. Make sure that our oven isn't too hot or too cold. It's very Goldilocks. Now, we're going to sift our flour. And our flour needs to be sifted a few times. This is still a little wet. Let's get this really dry. We don't want it wet. I hear my other computer pinging. I'll be right back. Let me go check on something really quick. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Come over here, I'm back. Okay, so we have our egg whites that have been measured out. Now I need to measure out sugar, so we can let this keep air drying a little bit. I also don't want any paper towel fuzz. Okay, so let's get our sugar. So we need a bit of sugar. Let's see. What can we use that's dry? Okay. All right. Let's get our scale. What is the most delicious food in California? Oh my gosh. You know, one of the great things about California is that it truly represents how much of a melting pot the United States is. But California truly is a melting pot. And because of that, there's so much just ethnic food of different cuisines, anything you can think of. And we also have access to a lot of great fresh produce, obviously great fresh seafood. We're right by the water. We have access to really good food in California. And so honestly, there's so much good food. Just food in general out here is amazing. Berkeley out here in the East Bay has an amazing food scene. If you're in California, you definitely have to have Mexican food because it's going to be some of the closest that you're going to get to authentic food from Mexico. Definitely more than Texas. Texas has their own version. Texas has Tex-Mex. It's not really Mexican food. But if you have Mexican food in California, it's going to be as close as possible to authentic to some. Also, Mexico has regional, so depends on what part of Mexico you're talking about. But Asian food, there's a lot of really good Asian food, like Thai food, Vietnamese food, Indian food, so much good food, food in general. And then obviously in San Francisco, there was a big, como se dice, settlement of like Italian people. There's like North Beach, Little Italy, and then there's also Chinatown. So actually Chinatown in San Francisco, there is a proper fortune teller cookie factory. And actually it's funny, I saw that iShowSpeed went there. I went there once many years ago, and it made me so happy that they're still there. So yeah, I mean, food in general in California is amazing. Okay, so we need 125 grams of sugar in one container. 125. 125. 125. 125. So we have our 125. We're going to set this aside. And now we need a little bit more sugar. And for this, we're going to need 45 grams. 45. Hey! Went just a tiny bit past it. So take our little spoon. Get it to 45. 45.6. 44.2. 44.8. 45 even. Oh, it's the best feeling when you can get the digital scale to be even. Because sometimes you just have to compromise and say, that's close enough. But depending on the ingredient, you want it to be even. It's a great feeling. One of the best feelings in the kitchen. Excuse me. Okay, so we have our sugar. We have our egg yolks. Now we need our flour. Let's leave that for last because we have to sift it. We need 1/3 of a teaspoon of our cream of tartar. So if this is 1/4, just a little bit more than this is 1/3. So we'll get one of our little bowls and because it goes 1/4, 1/3, yeah, half. Okay, so we get our cream of tartar, and then we need a pinch of salt. We have our pinch of salt. Then we need 1 teaspoon of vanilla bean paste. That's a little bit less than that. That's one of the things I forgot earlier. So let's add a little bit more to make it a full teaspoon. And to make up for our sins for earlier even forgetting to put it in, because how dare I forget to put the vanilla into the vanilla bean cake? Hello. Okay, so we have our vanilla bean paste. now we need our milk. Okay, we need our milk. We need our milk. She needs some milk. So we're gonna get our Pyrex, get it on our scale. Another thing, if you're baking, highly recommend a scale. It's worth it. It's worth it, it's worth it, it's worth it. Okay, now we need 40 grams. Which is not that much. Okay, 40, boom. And this needs to be warmed to 122. Now, I can't forget the milk. So let's warm it up now so it's not cold. But before we mix it in, we'll have to warm it up again. But at least it's measured out so I don't forget the milk. Okay, so now we need to sift our flour. Okay. Let's get our bowls out for the flour. Okay. We have our milk. We'll leave it here so we don't forget it. And now we need to sift into our bowl 150 grams of cake flour. So we'll get our cake flour out. And we've already weighed out our bowl and our sifter. There. So it's at 0. So now we'll weigh out the 150 and then sift it out. So our target again is 150 grams. Okay, we went over a tiny bit. It's okay. We can get that out. 150. Boom, look at that. Okay, so we'll put our flour away. We like to clean up as we go as much as possible. Put our flour away. And now we have our 150, so let's put our scale away. And now we can very quickly get this sifted in. I do have a Theragun that helps, but then I'll be yelling over the sound of it again. Hello. All right, so far our progress, we have our oven preheating. We have our eggs separated and weighed out. We have our sugar separated and weighed out. We have our cream of tartar. We have our vanilla bean paste, and we have our milk, which is what we forgot last time, the milk and the vanilla bean paste. Now is when we need a little more. Yeah. And just like that. Boom. And sift 1 is down. We gotta do that 2 more times. So we have a second bowl. Put our sifter over it again. And the reason I tap it is because the flour will stick to our bowl. And so we want to shake out as much of it as possible. Tapping it with something hard helps. And so once again, like switching between, because your arm will get tired quick, but you'll get it done. It gets done. It gets done. Okay. Beautiful. We're going to do that one more time. We're trading out bowls again. Swapping back to our original flour bowl. Same technique. Tap and pour. Get it all into our sifter. Tap, tap, tap. We get it all out. Put that aside. We don't need it anymore. Not for today. And we'll tap this out. Ta-da! Just like that. We've got our sifting. Now, we'll set this aside. Okay, we've done, for the second time today, all of our mise en place prep work. So now, we're gonna make some space. I'm gonna take a second to clean up really quick because this has become very chaotic. And that's when mistakes happen, because there's things in the way that don't need to be there. And so we're going to take a quick second to just clear our working space, because clearing our working space clears our mind. And a clear mind, a clearer mind, will make less mistakes. So now I'm going to make space for the mixer, so you all can see the magic happen. First up is going to be our meringue with our eggs. Because my bestie has dietary restrictions that require considerations for a sensitive gallbladder, we are shooting for a cake that has very limited fat. So a lot of our rise for our angel food cake is going to come from the fluffiness of the meringue and the air that we are about to slowly beat into our egg whites. So now, after we've prepped all of our ingredients for the second time today, but it's okay. At least I had time. I'm glad that I did that first bake in the morning, because I still at least have the afternoon to get a second batch baked, get them cooled, get them in the fridge, and at least make the frosting. And I can always assemble it either tonight if I have the energy still, or tomorrow morning before I go see my bestie at the hair salon and go get my hair done also. Okay, we ready for magic? Let's go. So we're gonna take, actually, I'm gonna take my recipe and have it in front of me so that I don't make mistakes again. And we'll get you positioned so that you can see all the action. All right, action, action, we want action. Okay, so we've preheated our oven. I'm gonna check the oven based on the little thermometer that's inside of the oven. It's totally worth the investment. They're super cheap on Amazon. So, perfect. It's hovering right in between 325 and 350, and it's calling for 340. And with cakes, it's better to be a little bit lower than higher, so I'll leave the temperature right where we're at. So we've checked our oven. We've prepped our 2 pans. And actually, let me get the scale out ready, because we're going to want to weigh out our batter. Oh, that's another thing that we want to do, is weigh out the metal bowl now. So it is, I need to write this down. Paper. Oh, here. I can write it on here. Metal bowl, empty is 638.2 grams. This is something you want to do if you're going to want to know what your dough or batter weight is after you've mixed everything. You're going to want to know that if you're splitting it, and we're splitting this between 2 pans. So we do want to know how much is in here once we're done. So we've weighed out our bowl. I jotted it down. Now we're going to set this aside because we'll use that to weigh out our batter into our pans. Okay, so now we're back. We're now ready to start making some magic happen. So now we're gonna make the meringue. In a clean bowl, we're gonna start beating our, oh, and by the way, I'll rattle off the ingredients and the measurements. This is an experimentation, so feel free to follow along if you want to try it at home. When I do get my recipes successfully down, I do plan on sharing them in the community tab. Actually, this weekend I'm going to sit down and type out the pistachio cheesecake, high protein pistachio cheesecake bars that I made in my new series, Baking for My Future Boyfriend. So I'm going to share that recipe because it's really, really good. It's slap yourself good. It's not even slap your mama good. It's slap yourself. I wanted to slap myself. They were so good. But today we're trying a different recipe. And so this is a bit of a journey. Cakes are way more finicky. Okay. Well, these sponge cakes are way more finicky. I can do a pound cake. I'll make a mean pound cake. Okay. So we have, but pound cakes are way more forgiving. I see something down there I don't like a little, like a little egg part. That doesn't need to be in there. Okay, we have our clean egg whites. We have our balloon whisk attachment. Okay, and we have our cream of tartar and pinch of salt. So let's take our pinch of salt. Okay, and then our cream of tartar. Okay. And now we're going to very slowly, well, we're going to put our neck down and we're going to start this at a 3 on our Cuisinart. And we're going to slowly build in our bubbles and build in the air that we need for the structure, ideally, for this angel food cake, cloud cake, vanilla bean cloud cake moment that we're trying to achieve today. So it's swirling around in the bottom of our mixing bowl. I see the cream of tartar loosening up from the sides, mixing in, and so now we're going to bump up that 3 to a 4. Now you're starting to see the color in your egg whites change a little bit. Because, you know, egg whites have a bit of a yellow tint to them. Now they're starting to get a tiny bit lighter. Because these will become white and frothy along the way. So we're seeing the color of our egg whites change little by little. And we're also seeing a tiny bit of foam collect around the edges. Which means we have air collecting. So now we're going to bump it up to 5. Now our egg whites are even lighter and we have even more foam forming around our edges. The cream of tartar, I still see some pockets of it in the bottom and on the side of the bowl, but they're mixing in. But our foam is definitely building on our edges. And now we're going to go from 5 to 6. Now we really have some foam action happening. There, you should be able to see it a little better. And our egg whites are definitely going from yellow to white. Definitely from the outside in. Our foam is starting to build out on the edges. And now let's go from 6 to 7. Definitely some foam action happening. Seeing more and more foam, less, you know, yolky consistency in the middle. It's almost all foam now. And we're going to bump it up to 8. To 8. There's a lot of foam on the edges. We're almost completely white now. The yellow from the egg whites is almost completely gone. And there's definitely no, like, you know, mucusy consistency in the middle. Now we have a full foam. We have full foam action. Now we're keeping an eye out for soft peaks. And there's a few visuals. So I'm seeing a lot of big bubbles on the outside. And I'm starting to see, let me turn this off. I'm starting to see the swirl of the bubble, of the balloon whisk. You almost see like it leaving a trail behind. That to me starts to begin the visual marker that we're getting close to soft peak. So let's take a look. We pop our mixer out. As you can see, nothing really stuck behind to our balloon whisk, and everything's pretty flat in our mixer. But we've gone from, you know, mucusy egg whites to foamy egg whites. Now we're gonna keep beating because our next marker is getting this to soft peak status. Once we get to soft peak, then we'll slowly start adding the bigger portion of our sugar. And I'm gonna bring this back up slowly, actually, because we don't want to break these bubbles. So we're gonna slowly bring it back up to speed. Now we're at 9. Let's bring it down to 8. I'm seeing more and more swirl pattern. It starts to look like the inside of a seashell almost. Now we're going to take another look. Pull it out. A tiny bit more is left on the tip of our balloon whisk. And I have a very soft peak that formed. So I'm going to take that as reaching soft peak. So now it wants us to add our yolks one at a time. I have a broken one. So first, okay. Oh, now, no, sugar first. Sorry. We're sugar first. See? Gotta triple check. ADHD. So sugar next. Sugar next. 1 spoonful at a time. So let's bring this back up to speed. Because now our next target is glossy, medium, stiff peaks. So let's get this back up to speed and we'll start adding our sugar in little by little. It has to be little by little. All right. tapping the spoon on the edge and having it come off little by little versus just dumping a spoonful in. Because again, we're trying to add this very little by little. And our goal is glossy, soft peaks. We'll get there pretty quick, actually. So I need to stop talking for a bit and just focus because of the neuro-spiciness of it all. But I'll be back to look at the chat in a second. But feel free to say hi in the chat if you want to. Hi, I'm MeMeCherry. I'm coming to you from Northern California. It's a beautiful day. I'm baking for one of my best friends. I had a baking fail earlier. I tried to make this earlier. It was a fail. I just was distracted and I forgot one of the crucial steps. But also the batter was a little light in terms of how much it had. So I scaled it up and now we're giving it a second shot, a little bit more scaled up, and trying to make sure that we pay attention and we don't mess up any of the crucial steps. Because it's not that complicated. You just have to pay attention and you have to be intentional. You can't be, you know, I told somebody recently that cooking is like jazz and baking is like classical music. And, you know, you have to be intentional. You have to be careful. You have to be respectful of technique. All right, I see glossy. Let's check on these peaks. Ooh, beautiful. We definitely have a soft peak. Definitely close to glossy medium stiff. It actually is pretty medium. Let's just give it one tiny bit more of a whirl. And then we'll lower the speed and start adding the egg yolks. But see how isn't that like magic? That our egg whites go from egg whites to this? All right, so let's lower this down to a 4. And let's start adding our egg yolks. So one of my egg yolks broke, so I'm actually gonna add that one first so I can get it out of its little container. And then what I can do is actually separate out the other yolks that are coming into this one, and then I'll just pour out from this one. So we're gonna bring this back down, and that mixer speed of medium. So we'll call that a 4. So one at a time, we add our egg yolks. One at a time. One more. Look at how beautiful that is. All right, let's add another egg yolk. Bring it back slowly to a 4. We still have 3 more to go. Another egg yolk. Oh, one of them broke, so we're gonna see if we can scoop out this one, add that one. Now we're gonna have to scrape this one out, get this off. Scrape this one out. Okay, got all that yummy goodness. Clean a little bit as we go. that it's not too much of a hurricane aftermath. Okay. Back up to 3. Now, okay. Now we fold in our dry ingredients. Oh, that went flying. Okay. Okay. All right, so our sugar, we sift our sugar into our flour. You can't see me, sorry about that. We sift our sugar into our flour. Sugar's a little harder to sift than flour. Not as cooperative, but we're gonna get it done. Ugh. Such a labor of love. Oh my God. Okay. We have time. Oh, really get in there. All right. This is going nowhere. You know what? That's close enough. We're gonna just go like that. Because I just can't. I can't do it. We also need to work fast. Okay. So now I have my whisk spatula. We're gonna take this, but we can't forget our milk. We cannot forget our milk. So let me warm up the milk again and have it ready. And have our vanilla ready. And now we're going to, hi again, do you remember me? I was on your other live. Hi, it's good to see you again. Okay, we're going to mix this a little bit together, mix. It's our flour and our sugar. And we're gonna do this in 3 parts. So first part, and the idea is go around the bowl and fold. 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 Now we're gonna put our second part of our dry ingredients. Okay. Once again, around the bowl and fold. Around the bowl and fold. Around the bowl and fold. because we don't want to overwork this batter. We want it to be light and fluffy. Light and fluffy, but we also don't want any flour pockets. That's the fine line. Okay, now we're going to put the last of our dry ingredients around the bowl and fold. Around the bowl and fold. A couple more times because I see some flour patches. Around the bowl and fold. Around the bowl and fold. I think we need to do that 1 or 2 more times. Around the bowl and fold. Around the bowl and fold. All right, I think we're there. Oh, I see some more flour shaking up. Oh, I saw a flour patch. Around the bowl and fold. 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 I still see flour. Around the bowl and fold. Around the bowl and fold. Okay, I think we're there now. So now, let's get our scale out. And we know that 638.2 grams is our bowl. So let's get this scraped out as much as possible. Okay. So I need math. I need calculator. I need calculator. Wait. Okay, let's see. Let's see. We need calculator. Okay, calculator. Okay, so we need 442.2 minus 638.2 divided by 2. 123 is our target per pan. So now we take our pan and we even out. Oh wait, no, the milk. See, I almost did it again. Now our milk and vanilla bean. Oh my God, I literally almost did it again. So we take our vanilla bean. Oh my gosh, that was my ancestors. Somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, Mariana, you can't do that again. You literally can't do that again. So we have our milk, we have our vanilla bean, and let's go back to our instructions. And, okay, add warm milk and vanilla around the edge of the batter bowl, not directly on top, and fold gently until smooth and glossy. Okay, so we're gonna follow our instructions. We're gonna pour it along the edge of our batter. Make sure we get all that vanilla goodness in there. Get all that vanilla in there. And now, with the same scrape and fold, we'll just give it 1 good scrape and fold, 2 good scrape and fold, 3 good scrape and fold, 4, 5. Okay. I think that's there. Now we have to wait again. So let's wait again. Let's wait again. Okay. Let's do it again. Clear this out. Get our scale. Okay. We didn't forget the milk. Yay. Okay. Scale is on. Now we have 4, 5, 6. No. Unit. Oh, this is way different actually. Okay, 1296.9 minus 638.2 divided by 2. 977. That doesn't sound right. It does not sound right. 1298 minus 638.2 equals 659 divided by 2. 329.9. That sounds way more like it. Okay, so 329 is our target, or thereabouts. Okay, 329 is our target. So let's get our batter going. $3.29 is our target. $3.26. $3.32. No. We want $3.29. $328.4. $329 even. Boom. Boom beach. Okay, perfect. So now let's take this. Because if it's 329.9, a little bit's going to be left behind in the bowl. So 329 being our target feels like a sweet spot. So 329 in our first pan. And now, just for the sake of like making sure that our measurements are even, let's pour it in on top of our scale. I'm going to get my bowl scraper out. Get one of these. Totally worth it. You want it to bend. You want it to have a little bit of a beveled edge. Great. Worth the investment. So take our bowl scraper. Make sure we scrape all those edges, because we don't want any of that batter left behind. If you're leaving batter in your bowl, you're leaving money in your bowl. And who wants to wash money down the drain? I mean, I don't. Okay. Scrape, scrape, scrape. We're at 303 right now. 311. Scrape, scrape, scrape. 315. Scrape, scrape, scrape. 318. See, we might need to pull from the other one. Scrape, scrape, scrape. 319. $321. Still see a little bit in there. $322. Let's see, is there anything left in there? That's it. No más. Okay. That's close enough. That is more than close enough. Okay, so now we want to work fast, and we want to get our cakes in our oven. So now, let me clean this edge on the, clean this little slip on the side. Okay, nice and clean. Okay, so we have our 2 cakes ready to go in the oven at the same time. Our oven is actually at 350 right now, so let's bring this down to 340. But let's go ahead and get our cakes going, because we don't want these to sit around. Sponge cakes you don't want sitting around. Okay, so let's get this in our oven. and get our second cloud cake pan in our oven. We close the door, and now we need to set an alarm for 26 minutes. So set an alarm for 25 minutes. Now, we're gonna prep our space. Thankfully, I already did this earlier, and we're just gonna reuse the pan that I had set earlier, but this is a tip for cooling cakes that need to be inverted. So you can see me. So sponge cakes, angel food cakes, when they come out of the oven, they need to be put upside down because it's a cake that's climbed up the walls of the pan, and you don't want to lose that rise. So you tip them over upside down onto a rack. But another tip that I'm trying out for the first time today is putting parchment paper underneath with granulated sugar, because the granulated sugar will absorb the moisture coming off of our cakes. So we're trying that for the first time today. Another thing that she recommended was putting a little bit of butter on our grated sheet pan thing. So I'm gonna do that really quick. So we're gonna take a little piece of paper towel, a little bit of butter, and we're going to take this and just spread it a little bit. There we go. So now our rack is ready for when the cakes come out of the oven to get turned upside down, and if they've climbed enough that they've come over the edge of the cake pan, they'll touch the rack and hopefully not get stuck. Okay, so that's where we're at for now. I think we're at a break point. I need to do dishes again. This is my second time baking this cake today because earlier I baked it, but my ADHD was on fire and I forgot a couple of crucial steps. Thankfully, I was doing it early enough in the day that I had enough time to make it again. Also, those were a little on the thin side, so I wanted some thicker cakes. So we're accomplishing that now with our scaled up recipe, and we paid attention this time and we didn't forget to add the milk. We didn't forget the milk. So I say all that to say that now I'm gonna take a little break and go check emails and stuff, probably walk the dog. As soon as the cakes come out of the oven, they're gonna need to cool and they're gonna need to go in the fridge to completely set before I can decorate them. I still need to make the frosting. I might do that off camera. And then I'm gonna come back either tonight or very early tomorrow morning and decorate the cake. We're gonna make a honey Greek yogurt frosting, and I got some fresh strawberries, and we're gonna put some cream, some yogurt frosting and some berries in the middle, and then we'll top it with some frostings and some berries. So that's what we're gonna do. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and log off. I just got a notification that my groceries got delivered, so I'm gonna go do that. Thank you for hanging out with me. I'm MeMeCherry. Sometimes I like to go live and bake. Sometimes I like to go live and rhinestone things. I also have a podcast. It's called Series of Fortunate Events. I'm getting ready to interview one of my ex-boyfriends. That's gonna be really fun. So yeah, if you like to hang out with me, please hit subscribe. I'd love to see you again. And if I don't see you again, I hope you have a great life. I hope to see you soon. I'll be back either later tonight or tomorrow morning to decorate the cake for my bestie's birthday. I hope to see you again. Bye.